Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.
Good evening, Larchmont and Mamaroneck. It's Thursday, 7:30, and it's time for the Local Live. I'm Kat Galliano.
And I'm Ashley Ballone. Tonight, we've got the latest on what's happening in your local communities.
Here's a quick peek of what's to come in this evening's program.
Have you heard about Love Larchmont? Founders of the nonprofit aiming to help the Larchmont business area are in our studio. You'll get to hear from them and join the conversation in our live roundtable interview.
Our community remembers 9/11 with a heartfelt memorial service.
Some Village of Mamaroneck basketball courts and tennis courts are getting an uplift. Find out the details on our municipal meeting highlights.
Did you know that the Hispanic Resource Center has a new home and a new name? More in our community segment.
And our pet of the week is looking for a loving family. Help us find a fabulous feline forever home.
Before we continue with the local news, we want to acknowledge our viewers that we made an error on our reporting in our previous show. We must retract the statement that representatives of Hampshire Country Club proposed a plan to build new 7-unit townhouses to the HCZM board. The actual applicants who are moving forward with the development are Phillips Harbor Development, LLC, who are represented by attorney Paul Noto. Again, we apologize for the mistake. Now let's continue with this week's news. This past Friday, our community gathered to remember the lives lost on September 11th at the Girl Scout Rock for the annual Tri-Municipal 9/11 Memorial Ceremony. The Girl Scout at Memorial Park lists the names of those Larchmont and Mamaroneck community members who were lost in the tragedy. State Senator George Latimer addressed to the community the importance to remember and to not forget.
When the story of 9/11 is told, there's usually three very distinct sets of stories we talk about. The macro story we talk about are the men and the women of the military who, after 9/11, went to Afghanistan. The men who tracked down Osama bin Laden to mete out justice. And the volunteer army that to this day is still fighting terrorism in various parts of the world. The second story we talk about is the story of the first responders. And when we look out at our own firefighters, our own police officers, our own EMS members who participated that day.
On Sunday, September 13th, LMC-TV founding board member Franken Leicht died peacefully at the age of 90. Frank also volunteered for decades with LMC-TV and helped shape its mission. His leadership helped ensure Larchmont Mamaroneck's community public access TV station, LMC-TV, was adequately funded. Thanks to Frank, LMC-TV has become a resource for the Larchmont, Mamaroneck, and Rhinebeck communities. It is able to provide training facilities, equipment, and channel space to encourage public dialogue, freedom of speech, and artistic expression for over 25 years. We want to express our most sincere condolences to his family and friends. On Wednesday evening, September 16th, the Board of Trustees passed a resolution authorizing the activation of $220,000 in reserve funds for park improvements for Florence, Warren, and Stanley Park basketball courts and Warren tennis courts. Great news for basketball and tennis players in the Village of Mamaroneck. Village manager Richard Slingerland gave details of the project.
Done an evaluation of several of our parks. We had complaints that several of the basketball courts were in poor condition. We had previously done an upgrade to the tennis court over at Florence Park, but then got word that the tennis court at Warren Park was also in very poor condition. We evaluated the tennis courts and basketball courts, and these include Stanley Avenue Park, Warren Park, and Florence Park, and also the basketball courts at those three parks, and then the tennis court as well at Warren Park. We've been working with the boards. I believe it was mentioned to the.
Remember that you have access to the meetings on lmctv.org. Go online for the full proceedings. Let's go to Kristen Gabowski, who has the top stories running in our local online media.
The
Patch reports that 5 students from Mamaroneck High School and the French American School of New York are semifinalists in the 61st Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. They are competing against 16,000 other students nationwide for about 7,000 scholarships available. Best of luck to our well-accomplished students. Next, the doors of Supermarket A&P will be open for just a bit longer than planned. After having filed for bankruptcy, the supermarket chain has delayed the auction of their storefronts, so you'll have until early October to shop. You could read more about the reasons for the delay at the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. Attention, there's a phone scam going around. New York State tax officials want to warn the community about individuals posing as IRS employees, calling taxpayers and threatening to seize their possessions, and arresting them if they don't pay their fictitious debt. So learn how to identify these scammers with tips given in your local patch. Do you want to know how to help in a potentially life-threatening situation? Well, you can learn CPR Mamaroneck EMS this Saturday, September 19th. Class begins at 10 a.m. and costs $50 per person. For more information or to register, please call 914-381-7803 or email cmore@townofmamaroneck.org. Have you ever eaten a meal just to feel hungry shortly after? Well, the Hamlet Hub gives you tips how to feel fuller longer. If you want to know what changes you should do in your diet to stop craving more food after eating, then check out the entire article at Mamaroneck's Hamlet Hub. And these are the stories that have been buzzing around in our community this week. I'm Kristen Gobiowski.
Hope you all studied. It's time for this week's trivia question. And don't go anywhere because right after that we go to our live interview with the founders of Love Larchmont, Amy Sullivan and Tiffany Smith. The Hispanic Resource Center has a
And how much do you love Larchmont? Our guest tonight loves it so much she's committed to re-energizing the business district. And we'll learn how you can love Larchmont too. As always, we want to hear from you by phone, email, or tweet. The information is on your screen. Joining me is Tiffany Smith, who along with Amy Sullivan are the founders of the group Love Larchmont. Tiffany, thanks for joining me. I'm sorry Amy couldn't join us.
That's okay. Thank you for having us.
So what is this group Love Larchmont?
So Love Larchmont is a group of residents who've come together to try to revitalize the business district that we have in Larchmont. We started it when Amy and I commented on something on Facebook, and we were invited by the Chamber of Commerce to go to one of their meetings. And at that meeting, we realized that we needed to really start to make a change. So what we did was we had a group of women, about 15 of us, got together and just had a really great positive conversation about what we could do to try to help Larchmont. And what we ended up doing was putting a survey together that went out to everybody we could possibly put it out to. And we had about 2,000 responses, and the responses have been overwhelming for us. So right now we're in the process of, forming our subcommittees and getting our group going.
What is it you hope to accomplish?
We want to bring back stores to Larchmont. When you go on, especially onto the Palmer side, you see a lot of empty storefronts. And right now we feel like is the best time to start that because the streetscape is almost finished. And we think that it's such a beautiful village that we live in that we think it's the right time to start to attract new businesses into town.
So, well, let's talk about the empty storefronts.
Yes.
There have been a lot of empty storefronts since about 2008.
Yes.
And since then, some have come in and some have gone out. And why now? Like, what concerns you now more than, let's say, before?
Honestly, I think that we've heard so much chatter in the past and, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about these different storefronts? And Amy and I kind of just decided to take action. We were waiting for someone to step up to do it, and there hasn't been anyone. So we decided it's our turn. Let's do this.
What is the problem? Why are there so many empty storefronts?
I think that there are multiple problems, to be quite honest with you. I think that a lot of people are convinced it's the rent, how expensive the rent is.
And I've heard a lot that it's landlords, it's absentee landlords, it's rent. Is that not true?
The rent, that is not true at all. Our group pulled the rents from Larchmont, Bronxville, Scarsdale, and Rye. And we are at the bottom. We actually have the most affordable rents, which is unbelievable. I think that we don't have the right mix of stores. The stores that we have that are thriving right now are just unbelievable, and the owners of those stores are fantastic. I think that we just have to get the right mix, and what our survey has done is that we've gone out and asked the people, what do you want? What is going to make you shop here in town? And now we have those answers, and we really have hit the ground running, talking to the landlords, to the listing agents of the different stores that are being rented.
Well, let me back you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Why aren't stores thriving here? If it's not the rent,
Yeah.
what is it?
I know we've heard a lack of parking. People are looking for parking. I think that the streetscape is something that has really turned a lot of people off.
Because of the parking?
Well, I think I think it brings everything together. There's not a lot of parking. There's constant construction. They've been under construction for
a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Okay,
but this has also been planned for 3-4 years, I believe.
For a while.
I think that the economy changes. There's one store in town that actually has a storefront, but she does she has better business on the internet. But she's able to have a storefront and do internet sales as well. And we see that it's changing. The retail environment is changing. It's not like it used to be, 10, 15 years ago. You have big competition like Amazon where, one click and the next morning you're going to have your 14 rolls of paper towel at your front door.
But presumably all the other communities have that same issue of the internet and the malls.
Absolutely.
So what's different about Larchmont?
I think there isn't the right mix. There isn't anything, there isn't a destination store pulling you into Larchmont. So if you think about it, if there's a store that I want to go to that's not in this area, I plan out my day to go to that store. If I need to go, visit my parents in Connecticut, I know that there is a town that's right there, that I'll plan my afternoon out around that one specific store. And while I'm there, I'm going to hit all the other stores. So I think there isn't that one big pull.
So what are we missing?
It's interesting. From the survey that we've seen, sports store.
I agree. I was going to tell you.
Numero uno. And I think that a lot of people have said to us, well, we used to have a sports store that was in town. We did, and it was incredibly successful.
Until the internet.
Until they moved across the street to the bigger store, which is now still vacant. And I think that changed. It changed, and it wasn't that small mom and pop shop that you wanted, where everybody could go in and they knew your name, they knew your kid's name, they knew what sports that your kids played. It changed.
I think they would have told you it was the internet. People would come and window shop and then go buy it on the internet.
Yeah, I think that obviously had something to do with it, but it's interesting because that's been the #1 requested store. The next requested is a salad place. Everyone wants a chopped salad store. Restaurants are huge. Boutique fitness stores that they want.
What's a boutique fitness store?
So a boutique fitness store is somewhere you don't have to pay a membership fee. You have big gyms like Equinox and New York Sports Club. People aren't going to those places as much as they have. They're looking for a small yoga studio, a small cycling studio. You know, I think if you
But
look
I'm
at
picturing Larchmont, and I can picture, I think, 3 Pilates studios, 2 or 3 yoga studios, and a cycling studio.
and they're all separated.
Yes, they are.
Together.
That is true.
So if you go to some place like a Rye Ridge, they have multiple studios there, boutique studios. They also have your chopped salad place. They have your coffee shop. They have a new toy store that just opened. They have everything that every single person on that survey
So do you
is looking
think
for.
people here want a mini mall or strip mall,
No,
which
I don't
is sort
think
of
so.
what Rye Ridge is?
Rye Ridge definitely is that. You know, I think that what people want is the mix of the mom and pops with a destination store thrown in there. You know, we're not looking for IKEA, obviously, to come in here. But what we are looking for is a high-end, small boutique store is what I'm thinking. Like if you go into Rye, you don't really realize it, but a lot of those stores are chain stores. A lot of their cosmetic stores, you know, Blue Mercury, that's a chain store. But if you look at it, you don't think of it as a large chain store whatsoever. So we're looking for intimate, small stores where you're gonna walk in and people are gonna know your name. And the stores that we have right now in Larchmont, the merchants are so phenomenal with the shoppers. You know, they know your name, they know what you like, and it's really nice. I think people want that personalized shopping experience.
So how do you go and get businesses to come to Larchmont?
So we have different committees. We have a push committee and we have a pull committee. So our committees are working right now to figure out what is the best way to get these businesses into town. You know, we have people on the ground in the different, you know, villages in the area going out and actually seeing what people are buying and where people are shopping. We're in contact with the landlords. Obviously, we're in contact with the merchants. We're in contact with the village and obviously the Chamber of Commerce. We have partnered with to try to bring in these individuals that want to, you know, open stores here in our town.
Somebody said that stores are having trouble opening here, that there have been essentially barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Is that true?
You know, it's interesting. I can't speak because I have never tried to open a business in Larchmont. Yes, some people are having some difficulties, but then other people are not. So I can't really comment so much on that. But we hear it back and forth.
What are the difficulties? Are they with landlords? Is it permits? Is it
I think
what?
We've heard some landlord difficulties. We've heard some permit issues. I think it's across the board. I think no matter what happens when you go to open up a store, especially in a town as old as ours, you're going to find problems within the space that you're renting. So it's going to make the construction a little bit longer. You know, our town is about to celebrate 125 years in the village. So you have to think about all those buildings that have been there for 100 years at least. So, you know, I think that we have to make sure that everyone is aware that yes, when you do go to rent a property, they're a little bit older and it may take a little bit more time, but you know what? You have this massive village that has so much momentum behind it right now and is going to welcome you with open arms.
In terms of chains or chainlets, are you looking to get more of them into the community?
I wouldn't say that we're looking to get them into the community. Listen, if a beautiful chain decides that Larchmont is where they want to come, we're not going to be offended by that whatsoever.
Are there restrictions on chains?
No,
here?
not that we know of. And we've had open dialogue with the mayor, and that has never ever come up whatsoever. So I'm fairly positive there's no restriction on chains, because Starbucks is in our town, and that's a chain.
And you know, there was for those of us who lived here a long time, that raised a whole lot of issues. That did not go smoothly. Let's just say
We've
that
heard,
way.
yes, we've definitely heard that did not go smoothly. But I will tell you, Starbucks is packed 24/7. So.
And have you identified what makes a restaurant succeed in Larchmont? Because some are here forever and some don't make it.
So we have. So in the survey, people talked about decor. Decor was a huge, huge conversation. They talked about how they are willing to spend a little bit more money if they're in a restaurant that reflects the price of what is on the menu. And we heard that on a lot of different things. And, a gourmet food store was something that people are asking for. And like people have said, we've had them and they've failed. And they've failed because, they weren't, the price that they were trying to sell things for did not reflect what the store actually looked like. So it's interesting to hear.
To what extent does the issue come from? We've got at least 2 sections of the village. I mean, and it came up because there are 2 sort of gourmet stores closer to Boston Post Road.
There are, yep.
But not on the Palmer side.
Right, and
you've got makeup stores on the Palmer side, but not on the...
You actually do. There is a makeup store over on
Addison?
It's right on Larchmont Avenue, right by Addison. So that is there. It's called Glam Bar, actually, and I was in there the other day, and it was packed to the gills. That is very hard for us, having 2 separate shopping areas. Right. Something, again, from the survey that we've learned is that we heard a lot from the Chatsworth moms, that they have said that, on that side of town, they get to go to the different stores like Stan's, they can go to Apiary, they can go to Array, they can have their meetings in the morning at different places to have their breakfast and their coffee and to meet for PTA meetings or whatever it may be. Then we heard from the Murray and the Central moms who have nothing. There's nothing on the Palmer side. There really is not a single place to come and sit down and have a meeting of more than 4 or 5 people. So there's nothing there that's in the morning.
Some of the restaurants there may disagree.
Well, think about it. When do those restaurants open?
Well, you've got a number of delis that are open very early.
You do, but you don't have the space. Most of the moms, like myself and Amy, between the 2 of us, we have 8 children. And we're having these meetings with stroller, like most of the moms. So there really isn't a space for you to go with your kids and to go with a group of other moms. We have a place like Groove that is over on the Palmer side. And, whether it be the moms or the nannies, they're stopping to grab a cup of coffee or want to sit down, have some lunch. There isn't a large enough place for them to go and sit and chat and have the children in their strollers with them. Of the survey, 85% of the people that filled out the survey had children. And of that, 65% of them had children under the age of 8 and under, which is a huge number. And in the school district alone this year, we have 155 new families. That's a large number of families. So most of these individuals that have filled out the survey want things that are family friendly.
Okay. To what extent have you been able to ascertain whether our community has changed from a socioeconomic standpoint?
So we met with the merchants last Monday, and according to the merchants, they have had the best summer on record.
Despite the streetscape?
Despite the streetscape.
And what do you think? What do they think the difference is?
I'd love to say it was just solely us, but I can't. I think it was a partnership between us and the Chamber of Commerce. I think that we've come together and we have put our hearts and our souls into this, and we have the trust of the merchants. They trust us. We have relationships with them now, and I don't think that's ever happened in the past. They realize that we have a lot of skin in the game. We have as much skin in the game as they do. And Amy and I and every single person on our committees are really pouring our hearts and soul into this. And we are seeing a difference, which is fantastic.
Well, we actually have an email.
Sure.
Wanting to know what the Village of Larchmont is doing to solve the problem.
So the Village of Larchmont has been fantastic. So they've partnered with us. We have open dialogue with Anne constantly. Tomorrow we're actually meeting with one of the trustees to, have an event for the holidays over on the Palmer side of town. You look at the 2, like you said, the 2 different sections. I think that the Boston Post Road side of town right now is doing incredibly well, whereas the Palmer, they're lacking it a little bit. When you are a new person driving into town, you come off I-95, first place you hit is the Palmer Avenue side. We are in constant communication with them, and I can shoot Anne an email and she'll respond to me, within an hour, hopefully. So we feel that they have really responded incredibly well to us.
And you found that the merchants have been responsive? I'd always heard chatter that not everyone was involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and
Yeah.
how is that working out now?
It's working out great. Actually, the Chamber of Commerce, they have seen their community of merchants grow incredibly. So I believe when we first started, they had about 35 individuals, and it's now up to 96. So I think that Carolyn Fougere, who is the president of the Chamber of Commerce, she's new, and she has really brought a lot of energy, positive energy, back into the community. The date nights have been phenomenal. And the next one I think is going to be even better because it starts the kickoff of the 125 weekend. So the date night is the 24th, that Thursday, and then there's a whole slew of events going on in town for that. So everyone's really excited about that.
Okay, well, we thank you for your efforts
welcome.
and for appearing here tonight.
No problem.
Tell us where people can find Love Larchmont.
So right now, Love Larchmont is on Facebook. All you need to type in is Love Larchmont. We're in the process of putting a website together.
It's a closed group, so you have to request permission,
You
right?
do,
Okay.
yes.
Are you on Twitter also?
We are not on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
Okay.
And you can also find us in all the stores because we are selling these lovely magnets.
Now, let's talk about those because we actually do have one right
Yes.
here for everyone to see.
So the thought of the magnets, one of our members actually, it was her idea instead of the 0 to put the heart there. And then another one of our members, she designed this. She also designed the T-shirts that are coming out. But with the magnets, we want people to be aware. If they're driving to Target to grab something and they happen to see one of those magnets on the car, maybe it'll make them think first, before making that trip to Target, to turn around and head over to Foley's to get exactly what they need here in town. We're seeing these pop up all over the place, and tons of merchants are selling them. They're $5 each.
Okay.
Yep, $5 each. And then starting in October, we'll be selling T-shirts that say, "I'm a Larch Monster." And those will start being sold at the Ragamuffin Day Parade.
And what happens to the money being raised?
So that money being raised is going to go to beautification of the new streetscape on Palmer. So what we're doing is actually tomorrow, part of our meeting is to talk about the holiday decor. They've got these gorgeous new lights that were put in, and we want to make sure that we're really focusing on, keeping Larchmont that quaint, beautiful town. And we don't want to put some old, things that are up there. We want to make it new and shiny.
There will also be going up things celebrating the 125th, right?
Yes.
So I know there will be banners
There were
on
banners.
some of those.
Yep, so those banners have started to go up actually, and they're great banners. The merchants can purchase them. Individuals can purchase them as well.
LMC TV purchased one.
That's great. It'll go. You can purchase them off their website, and Dee Van Eyck, who is in charge of that, she's done an amazing job.
We actually have one more email, which is, how do you plan to get shoppers back since they're now used to not shopping on Palmer and not being able to park?
We are going to get them back by having different events. So we've just paired with the Girl Scouts, hopefully for the winter event that we're having. Something we're working with the Girl Scouts at Chatsworth. They are going to be doing, it's over the course of a couple of months, where they're going to be meeting individual store owners and learn the ins and outs of businesses. And then part of their project is they need to make sure that they're doing their chores at home where they save money, and then they're able to use their money that they've saved to shop local.
Any chance we'll be able to buy cookies on Palmer?
I think you might be able to.
Girl Scout cookies?
Absolutely, I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah.
So we're excited. I think we've gotten a lot of great feedback and a lot momentum. So
well,
we
wish you luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany Smith. And again, you can go to Love Larchmont to learn more. There are also some events coming up that we wanted to tell you about. September 22nd, the Larchmont Mamaroneck Summit will be tackling this exact issue, and Love Larchmont, in fact, Tiffany will be there, Mayor Ann McAndrews, and the Chamber of Commerce. It's at the Nautilus Diner at 7:45 in the morning, and you can get more information on the Summit website, which should be on your screen right now. September 24th is another date night in Larchmont, so grab someone to join you and check out the Chamber of Commerce website. And lastly, on the 26th, that's the kickoff for Larchmont 125, the celebration of the Quasquicentennial. And again, the details are available on the web. Thank you again, Tiffany Smith. We will be back with the answer to the trivia question and more community stories in just a moment.
The Hispanic Resource Center has a brand new home and also a new name. Kristen Gobiowski reports.
We're here at 134 Center Avenue, the new location for the Hispanic Resource Center, which is now called the Community Resource Center. Let's find out the reason for their new location and name change. With nearly 20 years of providing programs and services to immigrant families, they are proud to debut their new home and name as Community Resource Center. New Executive Director of the center, Milan Bott, gives us details about the recent changes.
So we're thrilled, again, to be here. I think we've gotten really good feedback today from folks. One of the really immediate things that we're already recognizing is that we have more space to be able to hold our programs. In our previous location, we found that we had to double up and sometimes triple up on space just to make our schedules work with all the different programs that we offer. Our core mission, which has been in place for many years, is going to remain unchanged. If anything, we're redoubling our commitment to providing high-quality services to new immigrant communities.
Mayor Norman Rosenblum emphasized the importance of the center in our community.
Not only does it help those that are adults, but particularly the future of the Village of Mamaroneck and America, quite honestly, which are the children. The Village of Mamaroneck is the best representative and symbol of the melting pot of the United States. This here helps continue the American dream. I think it's vital to the vibrancy of the Village of Mamaroneck, and it can't be replaced.
The impetus behind the new name, and it was something that we had considered long before I came on board, was to kind of look at a way to signal a more inclusive approach towards the community. We see it as our mandate to work together in partnership with other organizations as well, and to let people know, especially given the history of this building, that we are going to remain in every way, shape, and form a true community center.
Quisiera pedir a todo el pueblo hispano, principalmente que no sabemos hablar bien el inglés, que recurramos a este centro. Es gratuito, hay muchos voluntarios que nos dan mucho amor, mucha voluntad para enseñarnos. Yo creo que si nosotros queremos crecer, tenemos que aprender.
With its new name, the Hispanic Resource Center, now Community Resource Center, will be more inclusive, aiming to build a stronger community within Mamaroneck and Larchmont. For Local Live, I'm Kristen Gobiowski.
I watch the Local Live so that I can ask questions about my community.
Caller, go ahead.
I watch so I can find out what's going on the go.
Because I catch up at any time, from anywhere, and see any show. Shh!
You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.
Our pet of the week is the lovely Princess. She's a beautiful long-haired 4-year-old cat. This gentle girl loves to be held and would make a great addition to any home. For more information, you can go to www.ny-petrescue.org.
Thanks for tuning in to the Local Live. As always, it's been a pleasure keeping you in the know with our community news.
Be sure to check out our website for more news and community programming, www.lmctv.org. And for internships and volunteer opportunities, send your email to thelocallive@lmctv.org. We love hearing from you. That's it for the news this week. I'm Kat Galliano.
And I'm Ashley Blount. See you next time.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.